Hey guys, it's Philippine Genius Finds, and today I will be going over some of the higher dollar items that sold for the month of October. Anything that is $40 and over, I will be showing you guys in this video. So let's get started. This is a Brownie Strata 2000 spinning fishing reel. It was listed for $49.99. It was on sale for a 20% discount and sold for $39.99. So this took about 2 months to sell. It was basically open box. It still had its case and it was never used. It comes with 2 extra spools. So this is the Barrington Studios limited edition Christmas boxes. It has 12 boxes inside. It's a nesting box, and Barrington Studios, like, these boxes are a very good name or a Bolo brand. It was listed at $199.99, but I took an offer on it for $147.97. It was listed for about 10 months, and this is brand new sealed. I was lucky enough to find 2 that was still sealed, and this is the first one that sold. Now, you can still sell these used. The problem is finding all the 12 nesting boxes. You can see there is some tear in the cellophane. Right here is another tear. So the next thing I have is 2 Precious Moments dolls. They're the Hawaiian theme. One is a larger doll, 12 inches. The other one is, I believe, 6 inches. And this was a combined order. So it was $86 combined for both of them. And then I did receive a positive feedback on this one. So this is Mokihana. This is a smaller doll, and she is signed on the bottom. 1999. So it is vintage. Still with a tag. And this is the sign Noilani Dole Plantation limited edition to 72. And again, it's signed on the bottom. I believe this is for like the Dole Plantation, the pineapple plantation, a special limited edition. Again, 2002. And this took about 6 months to sell. Now, this is an antique Forbes silver company Pickle Castor hand painted cranberry glass number 276. It was listed for $129.99. I did take an offer on it for $110. I did receive a positive feedback. This took about 1 week to sell. So these Castor jars are actually popular, and they go for quite a bit of money. You can see that it is missing the lid. It is missing the, what is that? The tongs. If I did have the lid and tongs, it would go for over $200, but I was missing some of the parts. I did receive a positive feedback. And this is not silver, it's silver plated. You can see it's the Forbes Silver Company quadruple plate 276. This is a Titleist Vokey design BV52 25208 right-handed golf men's club wedge dynamic gold wedge flex golf club. It was listed for $49.99 and it sold at the full price of $49.99 within 2 days. But you can see it's very clean. I put used in decent condition, but you can see by the photographs it is like almost new, or I would say it's probably new, like new. Dynamic gold wedge flex. This is a Baroque by Wallace silver plate Holloware kettle craft stand and burner number 299. This was listed at $599.99. This did take over 3 years to sell. I took an offer of $400 and it was an international sale. I did receive a positive feedback. The photos are not that great because this was my earlier photos, and Baroque by Wallace 299. Now initially when I listed this, someone did ask me if I could separate some of the pieces, or all they wanted was like the burner. If you don't know what a burner is, it's this thing right here where you put the oil inside, and then or alcohol inside, and then you light it up. Oftentimes when you have separate pieces, you find that certain pieces are missing, but oftentimes you'll find the burner that is missing, and people will be always looking for that burner. Again, silver plated, not silver, and you can see all the tarnish. It hasn't been polished. This was the big sale of the month. You know what? It may be the big sale of the year. Actually, there may be a couple of other items that may be on top of this, but this is like the sale of the month or the year. But it did take about 3 years to sell. Now House Jonathan Adler, Terrazzo, Blue Eye Decor, Evil Eye. It was listed for $79.99. I did take an offer on it for $54, and it did take about 3.5 months to sell. You can see the Now House Jonathan Adler right there. This thing is heavy. You can see there are some scuffing right here and some type of paint or some type of stain right here. Again, a little bit of scratch marks. Not perfect, but I had the only one in the market. The Peanuts chess set blue tin, 32 collectible chess pieces, complete. It was listed for $79.99, and I took an offer on it for $60. It was listed for about 8 months. This SPODE Trade Winds Ship Windsor Castle H166 charger plate, 12.25 inches. It was listed for $64.95. And then I did take an offer on it for $45. It was an international sale. I did receive a positive feedback on this one. It did take about 1 year and 5 months to sell. Now, this is an art glass vintage paperweight, yellow candy cane swirl flower. It was listed for $149.99. I did take an offer of $104.99. It did take about 1 year and 2 months to sell, and it was an international ship. So it is a 3.25 inches wide. Now this is Titleist BV Vokey SM54 10 54 degrees spin milled wedge dynamic gold with a nice grip. This was listed for $44.99, and it did sell for $44.99. It sold within a week. Very clean surface. Dynamic gold wedge shaft. Now this is a TaylorMade Sim 2 Max 4 hybrid 22 degrees Fujikura Ventus blue 6R regular and right-handed. It was listed for $115.99, and I did take an offer on it for $90. It did take about a week to sell. This is the Imperial Open Rose Lustre Rose Plate Carnival Glass Electric Blue 9 inches chipped. It was listed for $199.99, and I did take an offer on it for $75. It did take about 1 year and 2 months to sell. You can see there's the rose right here. Look how all the luster, pretty luster comes out when the light hits it. So I did receive a positive feedback on this one. This is a Titleist Vokey spin milled nickel sand wedge, 54 degrees and a number 8. This was listed for $69.99. I did take an offer on it for $60. This sold within 2 weeks. Now you'll see a lot of golf clubs being sold this month because I just listed a lot of golf clubs. You have the Vokey design wedge shaft. Now this is a giant of modern advertising, National Calliope Corporation, Kansas City, Missouri. Now it was listed for $44.50. It sold for the full listing price of $44.50. Now this was listed maybe 2.5 or 3 years ago. I was fortunate enough to find a bundle of these, and I have sold multiples of this poster throughout this time period. It was printed on kind of like a newsprint type of paper. You can see it's a 33 1/4 by 21.5 inches. This is 2 of the Pickle individual butter dishes with silver dome lid, porcelain France, and it's rare. I believe there was one sold, and then I had the second one that was only in the market. So it was listed for $124.99, and I did take an offer on it for $100. It did take about 1 month to sell, less than a month. You can see the Pickle France back mark. And typically you won't find these with the silver dome. You'll see it with the porcelain. Finding it with a silver dome is kind of rare. It's sometimes hard to photograph the reflective surfaces. This is a rare magenta Ray Dunn gingerbread Christmas tree canister, 9 1/4 inches tall. It was listed for $149.99. It was on a 30% off sale and sold for $104.99. Now, this right here, the Christmas tree gingerbread kind of looking thing, um, the medallion or the paint, it's hard to find. I haven't seen one in the eBay market or anywhere. This did have a lot of crazing. I did receive a positive feedback on it. Now, some of Ray Dunn's pieces can go for a lot of money, especially the earlier ones. You can see there's some crazing right here. A lot of crazing. It's about 9 1/4 inches tall, 4.5 inches wide, weighs about 2 pounds. Now, this is a vintage Wishar glass Vaseline uranium moon and stars sugar spooner LG Wright. Excellent used condition. I think this was like a new condition, but I just put excellent. It was listed for $199.99, and I did take an offer on it for $100. It did take about a year and a month to sell. You can see the logo embossed, and it is a Vaseline or uranium glass. It does glow under black light. Actually, this should have been probably my first photo. It's about 5 inches tall, 4 1/4 inches wide, 1 pound and 5 ounces. Yeah, this one was like almost like brand new, pristine. I could have probably put, but I just put excellent. Possibly could have got some more for it, but I'm happy with $100. This is a Titleist Vokey SM6 56 wedge M grind right-handed. And then this was listed for $79.99. And I took an offer on it for $60. It did take about 2 months to sell. No, it did take about 2 weeks to sell. And you can see there's a little bit of damage on the grip. A little bit of damage right here. Now, this is a 2017 Blizzard employee exclusive holiday Overwatch loot box with coasters and glasses. It was listed for $179.99. It was on a 30% off sale and sold for $125.99. So this is a limited edition of 5,000, and it was exclusive to the employees only. You can see the coasters are metal, and here are the glasses. This is a mid-century modern art glass somersault centerpiece candy dish ashtray bowl. It was listed for $229.95. And then I just took an offer on it for $66. It did take about a year and 2 months to sell. I believe it is a Murano piece, and it's by one of the famous Murano names. But I don't remember what it is, who it is. It's only about 5 inches, very heavy. You can see how the glass reflects the light. The bottom is polished. This is the vintage Alessi teapot kettle. 1810 Italy, Richard Snapper. Read the description. It was listed for $89.99. And then I did take an offer on it for $55. It did take about 3 weeks to sell. That sound is what makes it special. Highly polished or chromed. You can see the Alessi mark right here. Italy. Now there is a chip right here or a crack. Doesn't affect the way the tea kettle functions. It's just an aesthetic thing right here. Now this is the Precious Moments Mikoto Linda Rick Girl doll. 12.5 inches tall with wearing a kimono. This was listed for $79.99. And then it was on a 25% off discount and sold for $59.99. And it did take about 6 months to sell. This is a vintage glass beads grape cluster fruit lampshade brown lampshade pine cone. This was listed for $299.95. I did take an offer on it for $175. It did take about a year and 5 months to sell. Now, this isn't the first one that I've sold with this. I've sold 2 others. It will range in about $150 plus over $200 depending on who the buyer is. To me, this looks more like a pine cone than a grape. You can see they are individually tied together, and there is some rusting inside. About 6.5 inches tall. This is the Oh My Goddess Flights of Fancy Season 2 episode volume number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. This was listed at $99.99. I did take an offer of $65. This was listed for a year and a month before it sold. This is the Kringle Express Indoor Outdoor Oversized 36 inches illuminated Santa holding the wreath. This was listed at $279.99 and it did sell for $279.99. However, it did take about 2 years and a month to sell. This was like a doozy to ship, or the shipping was very expensive and the buyer did pay for the shipping. You can see there are some cracks going across. This is just like a manufacturing defect. It's not really, damaged. I mean, it is damaged, but this is damaged during the manufacturing process. You see there's some scratches. This is a Titleist 906 F4 fairway wood, 13.5 degrees with graphite Aldila VS 80 stiff with cover. It was listed for $45 and then it sold for $45. I did receive a positive feedback. It did take about 3 weeks to sell. Again, I just listed a lot of golf clubs. It was in my back pile, or what do you call those? Death piles. Because I kind of like to gather like the similar items all at one time and then take photos of it at one time. Anyway, that's the preferred method, but sometimes I can't do that. So this is a 1962 Gwen Bristow Plantation Trilogy hardcover with dust jacket. It was listed for $299. No, it was at a 40% off discount and sold for $179.99. It did take about 3 years to sell. You can see the condition right here of the dust jacket just being a little bit torn. There's torn right here. You can tell it is like good quality paper, rag paper, oftentimes by the way they cut it. You can see there's some browning. This is a Texas Instruments TI-84 Plus graphing calculator, black, and it works. It was listed for $49.99. I took an offer on it for $47. Yeah, and then this sold within a day. And I did receive a positive feedback on this one. So this was in very good condition. There was no accessories or anything cables with it, just the calculator. But again, you can tell by the surface, it is in very good condition. This calculator is a major bolo, especially if it works. Typically, you can find them really cheap, and then as soon as you list it, it will probably get sold, depending on the condition and how much you listed it for. Like, I don't like the one with the rechargeable battery. I like the ones that, have the AA or AAA batteries because you don't know if the battery on the rechargeable battery is actually dead or not. That's why I like the ones that have the regular batteries. This is the TaylorMade Putter Spider EX Ghost White Flow Neck, 34.75 inches. It was listed for $69.99. And I did take an offer on it for $50. Yeah, it did take about close to a month to sell. You can see that it's sort of in rough condition. Actually, most of it is cosmetic, the paint peel. Again, this is a Christmas nesting boxes, the Barrington Studios, brand new sealed. And then this was listed $199. The first one I took an offer, but this one sold for the full price of $199.99. This is the second one that I had. Now they're all gone. Again, it did take about over a year and what is that? 2-3 months to sell. Yeah, but whenever you can find these Barrington Studios nesting boxes, go ahead and look those up, because they could go for a lot of money, especially if they're brand new sealed and there's none on the market. If you want to wait a while till Christmas, you'll get a good chunk more. But if you want to sell it quickly, you can just lower the price. This is the right-handed Titleist Vokey BV 248-06 pitching wedge. Listed it for $59.99. I did take an offer on it for $53.99. Did take about a month to sell. Dynamic wedge shaft. Now we have the animated angel Christmas tree topper, wings, arms move, lights up, and read. It was listed for $79.99. Yeah, and it did sell for the full price of $79.99. It did take about 4 months to sell. You see that it lights up and then it does move. You can see there's some corrosion on the electrical plug. Now, this is the Wedgwood Signet Gold. There were 4 dinner plates. Also, they added another dinner plate and 3 salad plates. I just sold them at $10 a piece. So took an offer on all 8 plates for $80. And it did take about 3 weeks to sell. So it is a Wedgwood Signet Gold with gold banding. They come in platinum or gold, and this was the gold one. Again, a little bit of scuffing. Now, this is a Rawlings gold glove. L27 TDC Gold Glove Series TRAP-EZE, 12 and 3/4 inch dual core tech right-handed. This was listed at $129.99, and then I took an offer on it for $100. So this did take about 2 months to sell. This is very clean. I would almost say it's in like new condition, but I put very good because the thrift store inked this, marked this right here. If it wasn't marked, it would be like new. Whenever you see the gold glove, you may want to take a look. Now, this is the Enchanto Company mid-century vintage laying frog flower bikini. Hard to find. Fullerton, California. It was listed at $139.95 and it sold for $139.95. So it did take about a year and 7 months to sell. You can see it's just a naked frog laying chilling on the beach. It's like a whimsical type of sculpture, I guess. Glassmasters Notre Dame Cathedral Rose Window 6-inch stained glass sun catcher. It was listed at $59.99. It was at a 10% off discount and sold for $53.99. And it did take about a week to sell. When the light passes through it, it's very pretty, very beautiful. And that is it, guys. That is the higher dollar items that I sold for the month of October. And I have a corresponding video to this if you want to see how I packed and shipped the items, especially like the fragile items. I'll link it up to this at the end, or link it up there. I hope to see you guys next time. Yeah, you can always go ahead and like and subscribe and help me out. Yeah, that's it, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Later.